Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it. We'll talk about it inside.
I was just noticing that very attractive green shirt I was wearing in the video, and look at this. Here I am wearing it again. Recycling. Hey scrappers, it's Tom here. Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. Whether you're joining us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, wherever else. Where else are we? That's about it. All right. Facebook, any of those, just watching us pre-recorded or watching us live, happy to have you here. We started doing questions and answers a lot more while we're doing these live sessions. So normally we're trying to go Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing some live feed. So if you have questions, by all means, let us know. Your questions and your feedback has helped us fix a lot of things. I mean, I was just saying how we merged the metals. We talked about that last week in the app, where now instead of having, bare bright copper wire and stripped copper wire, those are the same prices. So we were able to merge some of those metals together just to create more transparency, more clarity when it comes to metals. So we use your feedback to help make the app better and help to make the directory, the whole website better, make videos better. So let us know anything that you want to talk about, and we'll certainly jump right into it. So what's going on with the markets? I mean, let's talk about the markets over the last week and a half. We have aluminum prices trading up. We have steel prices trading down, copper prices trading up, nickel prices trading up. And you hear 3 out of 4 ups, and really cats are up too, 4 out of 5. And you're like, oh, this is great. Everything's going well. But it just doesn't seem to be true, because, you read articles and then you read people. And what I'm reading from people, whether I'm looking at Reddit forums, interactions with customers at Rockaway Recycling, traveling to see customers, we're starting to see a pullback. We're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. And I just was talking about this a few minutes ago. The Labor Department is going to say that there was over 800,000 jobs that were reported to be added, when in reality they weren't added. And that just happened a few minutes ago. Do you know what's bad about that? That's going to tick up the unemployment rate. That's then going to trigger the Federal Reserve to most likely make an interest rate cut. But really what's bad about that is there's over 800,000 jobs that we thought were fulfilled that are not being fulfilled. So more people sitting at home is not good for the metals industry, because consumers are really dictating a lot of prices. Think about it: electronics, cars, appliances, right? These are all things that need to be bought by consumers. And if there's not that many consumers working or making money because their hours are being cut down, that's going to hurt the metals industry. That's going to hurt some of the prices. So those are things that I look at and kind of put together and regurgitate, in these weekly reports. So, let me know your reactions. But what I think is going to happen, ready, will domino effect this. Jobs numbers lower. We're now going to see unemployment go higher, which is going to lead the Federal Reserve to cutting interest rates in September, pre-election. Oh, what a coincidence. Rates get cut, right? Market is going to rally because they're going to see rates cut, which means it's going to be cheaper to borrow money, right? Just economics 101. So cheaper to borrow money might start some projects flowing, so companies that are looking to do $100 million project, 1% interest is a big amount if they're borrowing that money. That may start to trigger a little more economic development outside of the residential sector. Right now, we're currently seeing the residential sector have a boom in housing, apartments, condos, but that uses more wood, right, and asphalt type products opposed to steel and other metal type products. Sure, they're using copper and stuff like that, but not in the way. So we could start to see the interest rate being cut, being the beginning of a resurgence to start to see some metals ticking higher. And that could start to lead with iron. And that's where I'll kind of lead into right now. Steel prices. Steel prices have not had a very good stretch. They're continuing to tick their way down. We're seeing markets lower 3 or 4 weeks in a row by 10 to 15 bucks a ton. We're now seeing light iron prices reported 80, 90, 110, 120 per ton. Same thing goes in that shred category. And we are going to start to see these dipping down even more as time continues to go on here. So you're going to see a light iron in that $110, $120 range. Shred is going to start to take its way down, maybe 135. Shred's always a little higher than light iron because shredders want it to pull the non-ferrous out of it. So it always ticks that price up. But as you can see on the screen here, we're starting to see those prices dip. 120, 145, 135, 7 cents equals 140, 85. So get ready for more drops. And that just is exacerbated by an article that I read here in Argus last week. The Turkish scrap imports markets remain at a standoff between buyers and sellers. The decline in China's ferrous sector drives global steel prices, leading Turkish mills to avoid scrap as there's cheaper billets from the Asian market. The ongoing softening in steel prices could lead to canceled orders and shift from scrap to lower price levels. So what does that mean? You pair that up with iron ore. In the next article I read from Oil Price, iron ore going below $100 a ton. What does that mean? All of these mining operations that are pulling iron ore out, whether it's a byproduct or a primary product, to go to steel mills to be, made into new iron, new cold rolled steel, that's slowing down. The prices are getting cheaper. So what are we going to see happening? Mining companies may suspend new operations and slow down existing operations, eliminating overtime or even multiple shifts. Now you're going to see less iron ore going into Chinese and different Turkish mills to get, kind of boiled down and made into that steel. Now they may be relying more on scrap, but if you don't see a huge demand for the new iron ore, you're also not going to see a huge demand for scrap, because that means there's going to be a lot of both and the prices are going to be low. And now you're going to have these different mills being a little more touchy-feely and a little more particular with what they're looking to send out there. So this could lead to more price difficulties in the third and fourth quarter of this year. And it won't shock me if steel prices continue to go down. There has to be a floor somewhere. I don't know if we've hit it yet, though. So I continue to recommend selling all steel products as fast as you get it in. Maybe you want to hold rotors because they're kind of dense and small, but other than that, scrappers, I'm getting my steel in and out as quickly as I can. And so are my friends. Their yards are empty, and that's a really good tip. When you go to your scrap yards, if you see their steel piles dwindling, they're doing the same thing. And it might not just be because they're slow. They might see prices going down more. And that's one of the things that kind of triggers markets. So other markets that I'd like to talk about, copper prices. Now, we've seen copper prices go up over 1% in the last week. All right. It was a little wacky there 2 weeks ago. We saw the Japanese have a horrible Monday, which led to big price declines. Then we saw them go even further, trading down into the $3.93 level. A lot of fear, a lot of people, what's going on. Now we've seen markets jump back by over 20 cents. All right, we're trading at 4.17. That's the range that we're trading at price-wise. But I don't really see copper demand booming right now. And let me tell you one of the things that I think about. Artificial intelligence is the only real bright spot that I'm seeing in a surge in copper markets. Now, we may see that increase a little more with some of these cheaper interest rates that are around the corner. So that's good. But copper also needs to be paired with other metals to make them work. Is it steel infrastructure? Is it aluminum housing? Are they electric vehicles that the copper is going into? We're seeing decreased demand. I mean, just this morning, Ford announced that they are scrapping, pun intended, the project to have a 3-row electric SUV. Why is that happening? Demand for electric vehicles that they're already producing, their F-150 Lightning, their Mach-E Mustang or whatever it is, and a few other models, are sagging behind. Them, along with Tesla and Chevy and all these other guys that have electric vehicles, are seeing a sagging market. So if Ford is starting to pull back on new plans for a new line of vehicles, that's not a good thing when it comes to electric vehicles, but it's also not a great thing when it comes to some of the demands for copper. Yeah.
We have a quick question from Ian regarding the steel. Do you think with the election nearing, we'll add more conversation about infrastructure and help bring steel back up?
You know, Ian, I appreciate the question. I think we're seeing a lot of empty promises. I mean, we're in an election cycle right now, and what are politicians great at? Lying, right? They're really good. Oh, the infrastructure bill was changing the economy. 2 years into it, we haven't really seen projects going, nor have we seen a massive amount of steel being used. You know, I'm here in the tri-state area. My interpretation from where I see these billboards up for the infrastructure, they're redoing paving. They're putting in some guardrail. Sure, there's some steel, but we're not seeing new bridges going in. You know, outside of the horrible collapse in Baltimore, there hasn't been huge bridges that have been planned to put into effect. And even if there was, what are we looking at? 10,000 tons of steel? That's not a lot. I know that sounds like a lot when it comes from a scrapping perspective. Don't get me wrong. I will sign up to scrap 10,000 tons of steel every day of the year, right? But we're talking about new demand. And some of these skyscrapers need 100 million tons of steel. You don't see them going up. You see more of these, infrastructure type projects aimed at increasing public transportation, making the roadways better, repairing bridges. You don't hear massive amounts of steel being used. I don't see, I follow a bunch of guys online that make these new beams. They're making them, but they're not making them at a speed like they could be making them at. And that's because the demand isn't there and they're not having a lot of these second shifts. You're seeing second shifts at factories either being eliminated or all overtime cut. This is in multiple fields, from electronics to cars. And that's going to hurt all of the materials industries and all of these commodities. They're going to be hurt by this, and people aren't talking about this stuff. But politicians saying one thing to get your vote, right, versus actually following through. These infrastructure projects, they're great. It's gonna lead to more internet across the country. It's gonna update and repair bridges. All good things, right? But nothing that says we need more metal. And that's what we're here to talk about. We need more metal. So that's something that I'm continuing to look at. Ian, thanks for chiming in. I appreciate the message. Copper prices, we talked about those. I'll talk about nickel up for a second here. Now, nickel prices are up 3% week over week. All right. Again, you would say that should be good. We should start to see maybe a change in pricing on stainless. Unless you see a million Cybertrucks out there lined with stainless steel panels, I don't see a demand for stainless picking up in any way, shape, or form. We've seen decreased markets, and I've now said for over 2 months, hold your stainless. Hold your stainless. I might be saying this for 2 more years because stainless prices are poo-poo. Nickel prices are trading near 52-week lows. And until we start to see nickel prices really popping and helping in the electric vehicle or the battery storage, the energy storage industry, I don't see anything good coming out of it. Again, I have a lot of friends. Yay, look at me, friends. Friends, that own scrap yards. I know guys that are holding hundreds of thousands of pounds of stainless, baled, ready to be shipped out, just buying them up. They don't care, just building a wall, right? Building a wall. Like, the Great Wall of Stainless, because they don't care when they sell it. They don't like these prices. They're too low. And until really, I think the energy storage space is going to be where they really shine. But I just don't think that we're going to see that happening anytime soon when it comes to stainless. Let's see what else here. We didn't talk about this, and some people talked about it. I will talk about gold for a second because it's not something that you're scrapping very often, right? You might scrap it inside of electronics, memory, CPUs, some motherboards. But gold hit all-time record highs. $2,552 an ounce. And, gold has been a safe hedge for people for years. You've seen these advertisements, buying gold, selling gold bars, selling gold coins. People buy them as investments because they're tangible. They can touch them. They can see them. They can feel them. It's not like a stock where it's just in the computer or it's money in a bank. Nope. They want to touch it. They want to bury it in their backyard. And we are seeing gold prices jump. And we're hearing news that gold prices are going to go up even more. And a lot of it is coming off of a weak dollar. Don't forget, the U.S. has something like $36 trillion in debt and counting. And inflation will help slow that down. But a lot of people think that gold is going to become more of a bellwether for people to put their money into. And at $25.50 per ounce, we may see $3,000 per ounce gold by the end of 2024. I really do think that. I think that gold prices, if we see a decrease into interest rates, not once, but twice, I see a $200 to $300 per ounce jump, right? And if you look at some of these charts that we have up here, you can see this steady climb over the last few months. It's there, it's tangible, it's real, and it may be market driven, but it's also because investors have too much money, right? What a problem to have. Oh my gosh, too much money, right? But this is a real thing. All that money that was printed in 2021 and 2022, it funneled on a reverse funnel, right? The masses got it, and all these, all the different checks that went out, they spent it. It filtered down a reverse pyramid, and that small group of investors on the bottom, the Apples, the Walmarts, the BlackRocks that have huge financial institutions and companies, they got that money from us, right? Whether it was from the PPP, whether it was from the individual checks that went out or the child care tax credits, they were getting that money. They're also buying gold because they don't have other places to invest money in. They've been buying companies, they've been buying metals. We've been seeing vertical integrations in different metals markets, but we're not seeing a huge boom. But gold has become one of those safe investment type of places. So we'll see what happens there. But we do have some questions that we'd like to talk about. So one of the question says, predictions about the 2025 market post-election and beyond. Do you think at any point in 2025 we will see new highs in copper? So this will be interesting. Let's play the what if game. What if the Democrats win? Then we'll continue to see more of what we see now, electric vehicles, clean energy push. That will lead to more copper prices, maybe being pushed higher. Okay, let's flip sides. If Republicans win, we're going to continue to see the clean energy push because that was made into a law. So that's going to continue to move forward. We're going to start to see more of an emphasis on more fracking, more drilling, producing more oil, becoming more energy independent. How's that going to affect the markets? Well, things are going to be needed, but it's not going to really have a boom in copper prices. Artificial intelligence also there. Data centers also there. I don't know if we're going to see an all-time high hit in 2025. I think we may be figuring out what's going on because you have a new administration. Regardless, you have a new administration coming in January, and they're going to have their own agenda. So until we kind of get into this time next year, June, July 2025, new agendas, new administrations. We don't know where Congress and where Senate are going to go. That's going to affect things, which is going to affect the prices. So if you're going to ask me today, no, we will not see all-time highs in 2025. But I also didn't think we were going to see them in 2024 until May had a trader-driven cycle that pushed it up, and that could always happen again. Wild cards exist. Next question. Do you think electric vehicles will catch on even more? Yes. I mean, I don't see them catching on less. I might not see the growth going out that we do. The government put out their really bribes. Bribes are called tax rebates, right? You get a $7,500 tax rebate if you buy this new car, where if you bought a gas vehicle, you get nothing. So let's just say bribe. That's going to run out at some point. you're going to see auto dealers having a plethora of inventory. So they're going to start cutting prices, as you've seen Tesla doing. Tesla went from having, I believe, a 19% profit margin closer to 9% over the last 16 months. And that's because they had to lower their prices because the demand wasn't there. You are going to see the infrastructure bill continuing to push its way out there. So there will be more charging stations, people having that short-term mileage fatigue, being scared that they're going to run out. I'm not sure that's a proper phrase, but it's around there. That's going to start to abate itself. But then you're going to have a lot of the people that are like, nope, I don't want to sit on top of a battery that could combust, or nope, I don't want to be beholden to sitting at a charger for 30 minutes because I drive a lot. I drive 700 miles, maybe 1,000 miles a week, and an electric vehicle isn't the right fit for me. The work trucks that are out there, not the right fits. A lot of the utility vehicles, they'll get them for parts of their fleet, more for management, but not for the actual workforce that's going out there. So electric vehicles, for them to really take off, it needs to be more than just a consumer level. And you're just starting to see that trickle into the commercial world. Amazon, Walmart, they have some vehicles. Now they're having some tractors, semi trucks that are powered. I actually saw one yesterday that went on fire in California, and the flame was over 1,000 degrees, and it took like 6 hours to get the thing out because that battery catches on fire. So I don't know if they're going to catch on as fast a clip as we've seen the last few years, but I think the market share will continue to grow. We have another question. How will different administrations change the scrap market? Are they really that influential? I kind of answered that a few minutes ago. They're influential if they help promote positive growth. So if you see administrations that are promoting company growth, and then you start to see companies investing money in, that's a good thing. I don't like to talk about politics, but I will. Kamala Harris has a proposed corporate tax rate going from 21 to 28%. So that means corporations are going to be taxed 7% more than they currently are. If that happens, we could start to see corporations having less of an investment in the country, and we may see more investments outside in Europe, possibly in Mexico. So that could hurt from a 21 to 28% corporate tax increase. Trump has varying things that will also help and hurt. So it's really, you could flip the coin, and I could talk about both sides being good, both sides being bad. Let's just let this process work itself out. I was joking with my sister earlier. We're really looking forward to November 6th when this is over, right? Everyone kind of votes for who they vote for, and then we can figure out from there. But we're not going to be able to get to that point, for a few more months. Last question, and this was off of a video that we made, brass versus copper. So it said, shouldn't the valve that was measured be graded as red brass being 80% copper? I thought yellow brass is 60 to 70%. According to other sources, should we redact that? So here you can see we had our XRF. We analyzed a bunch of different material. Now, generally, red brass is going to be 80 to 90%. But one of the reasons that we said it in this video, there was a heavier emphasis on zinc and lead in this material, which didn't give it as high of a price. There was also some contaminants on the top of it. I believe there were some pieces of plastic and steel that were still on it. So, when you go to sell red brass, you really want that 85 to 90% copper number in there. That gives you a real solid sales number. So sometimes you have too much zinc or too much lead. That leads to numbers being down. But please keep those those questions coming, because we're going to continue to answer these week after week. We're learning the markets like you're learning the markets, and hopefully we can try to teach you things as well. So scrappers, today is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. Hope you really, we have one more question. I'll answer it. Hey, are green circuit boards worth anything? I've got truckloads of old boards from the pipeline, LOL. Summit Wilson, Sure, they could be worth something and they could be worth nothing. You're welcome to send us a picture at info@iscrapapp.com or check out some of the online tutorials we have, whether it's through YouTube or our own website, iscrapapp.com. If they have metals on them, they're going to be worth something. If they're more of a low grade type of board that may just have some copper and aluminum, they may be a low price, 10 to 15 cents. But if they have any type of precious metals like gold, you could have $1 to $2 per pound item there. So send us some pictures. Hopefully we can lead you into the right direction. Scrappers, my name's Tom Buchel. I'm from Rockaway Recycling and the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. Thank you for so many of the questions and tuning in every week. Any more questions, let us know. And until next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for watching our video. For $2.99 a month, by becoming a member, you can get access to early videos, member-only videos, merchandise discounts from our store, and priority comments that we answer before answering any other scrappers. Click the link below to learn more. Until next time, scrap you later.